Alrighty, today, lamb burgers. So, usually for a burger I make my own buns, but today, I just went and I bought some yesterday because I couldn't be bothered making buns. But, I will be grinding my own meat. So, I have a whole lamb shoulder here. Now there's got a fair bit of fat on it, but when I grind it, I'll just check, and if there's not enough fat in, after I've minced it up, I do have a little bit of pork fat there that I might run through it. But we'll see how that is when we get there. Alrighty, once I've got the lamb all grinded up, I'm going to put this blue cheese through the meat. And then I also got some Jerome cheese. So after I've cooked the patties, I'm going to melt some of this Jerome on top of the patties. So it's quite a lot of funky cheese going on. But that's a good thing. Also, on the burger, I'm going to caramelize some fennel and some onion, and I'm going to also put some, chop up some mushrooms and bacon and mix in with the fennel and the onion. I think that's a good way to go. And for the garlic, I'm just going to chop the top off, bit of salt and a bit of oil, wrap it up in foil and bake this in the oven. And then they'll get all like super sweet, and then I'm going to, not sure if I'm going to spread that onto the buns or I'm going to mix it in with the, we'll see how I'm feeling when I get there. Then, for a little bit of a side, I'm just going to make up a quick slaw. And, yeah, it should be good. Alrighty, so, I've got some things cut up. I've chopped up the fennel. Now, the bottom part of the fennel, I've sliced up into, slices about yay big. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfection, but, sliced it up. And on the stems, I've cut them up really fine because the stems are a lot more fibrous and they take a lot more to break down. So I cut them up real fine. And then I've sliced up some onion, just into some slices like that. Chopped up the bacon and the mushrooms. So, game plan. To caramelize these down, I want it to be like almost become to like a jam consistency. So, I'm going to put the fennel in first with a little bit of water for about 10 minutes. Start that cooking. Then we'll add the onions, mix them all together, cook that down for another 10-15 minutes. We'll have to have a look at it. And then I'm going to add the bacon. And then we'll just let that cook down till it gets super jammy. Then we'll add the mushrooms, maybe a little bit of balsamic vinegar. We'll see when we'll get to that point. And then, yeah, should be good. Alrighty, so the garlic. As you can see, I've lopped the top off. And I took off a little bit of the paper, and then I realised that they're falling out, so one of the little cloves are falling out, but it doesn't matter. So, what I'm going to do is just get a little bit of oil on this. Drizzle a little bit of oil on the top, like so. Then a little bit of salt. Maybe another little pinch. Then we're going to wrap this up. Like so. Now we're going to stick this in the oven that I've got preheated to 200 degrees for about 45 minutes or so, and then it should be nice and soft and sweet and absolutely amazing. Okay, I've chopped up all the meat into just chunks pretty much. Like, got some long pieces, got some cubes. I've just pretty much, taken it all off the bones. Now, I've chopped it up and I've had this sitting in the freezer for a good 45 minutes. And you want to keep everything super cold. So I've also got the meat grinder attachment for my stand mixer. I've also had that in the freezer as well. All the parts in that, so everything's super cold. Full disclaimer, this is my first time actually grinding meat. So everything that I've researched and everything that I've read, everybody recommends that you keep everything super cold. So that's what I've done. So we'll get on to grinding the meat. Alrighty, got my meat grinder all set up here. All this is here. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it's all a little bit wet because it's cooling down after I took it all out the freezer. Now I'm just going to turn it on about a medium to low speed here, and we'll start feeding the meat into the grinder. I've also got the biggest die attachment on there. I've got it on back to front. Alrighty, so got the machine set up and we're going to turn it on full power after I plug it into the power, of course. Right, now we got it set up. So full power, and then we'll start feeding the meat into the chute here. Okay, so after a little bit of teething problems my first time, I figured it out, and yeah, I think it came out quite good. Now I want to leave it quite coarsely ground, and yeah, I'm pretty sure there's enough fat in there, so I'm not going to add any more. So I'm just going to cover this up, set it aside in the fridge until I'm ready to form the patties. Okay, as you see, I got my pot set up. I'm going to dump all the fennel in. Give it a little mix around. Just break it up a little bit. You don't have to worry about it too much because it's going to break down through the cooking process. And then I've got, a little bit of water. Just going to put that in there. Alrighty. Now I'm going to put a lid on that, and I'm going to leave it on about a medium to high heat, and then we'll come back and add the onions. Alrighty, it's been about 10 minutes. I've had the fennel in there. Now it's already starting to get soft, and the water's pretty much gone. Now I'm going to add the onions. I'm going to add another about the same amount of water as I did before. I'm going to give that mix all this in. Now I'm going to burn myself on the pot lid where I put it back on top. I'm going to turn this down to a medium heat, and I'm just going to keep an eye on it. I want everything to get nice and soft, so just come back and give it a stir every 10-15 minutes. If it needs another splash of water, just add a splash of water, and we'll keep cooking it down until it's the right consistency I want. Then we'll add the bacon. Okay, so little update on the jam here. As you can see, all the water's pretty much gone. I did add a little bit more. It's been on for a good, I would say, 45 minutes like that. Alright, at this point I'm going to add a little bit of salt and the bacon. Now I'm going to leave the lid off now and just keep an eye on it. You might need to add a little bit of water until the bacon starts rendering its fat, but just keep your eye on it, make sure nothing's starting to burn. If you do need to add just a touch more water to stop it sticking, go ahead. But I'm just going to keep that on a medium heat, and yeah, we'll keep cooking it. Alrighty, so going to make up the dressing for the coleslaw. Now I'm just going to add a little bit of mayonnaise, add a little bit of maple syrup. You could also substitute that with honey, a little bit of salt, like that much. We got some couple of dashes of Worcester sauce, a little bit of honey, a little bit of lemon juice, about that much. And I got a little bit of smoked paprika here. Like that. And some pepper. Fresh cracked, of course. Alright, we'll give that a little mix up. Add a little bit more mayonnaise to that. Squirt. This takes a little while to get mixed up because the you know, you add the lemon juice with the mayonnaise. You have to give it a good mix too and cook, get it emulsified together. Alright, once you got it all mixed up, let's give it a taste. Needs a little bit more mayonnaise. Touch more maple syrup. And give it another good mix up. Alright, give that a taste. I'd say that's just about it. Alrighty, so for the coleslaw, I've chopped it up like that. Now I'm just going to add a little bit of salt. Now I'm going to work this in. And just really like start crunching up and breaking down the cabbage. Now once you've got the salt kind of mixed in and crunched in there, we're just going to let it sit for about, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. And then what it's going to do is the salt's going to draw out a lot of the moisture from the cabbage, and then we'll just tip out the water, and then we'll add the dressing to it. Alrighty, so as you can see, I've had the bacon in here for a while, and just been keeping an eye. I did add a little bit of water just to stop it from drying out too much. Now, the bacon that I get doesn't have too much fat in it, so that's why I added it then. You could have, if your bacon has a lot more fat and it renders out, you would cook the bacon off before, and then you would add it in after you've like cooked down the fennel and the onion. But I added mine in then, and now I'm going to add a little bit of butter to add a little bit of fat into this. Now I'm going to add that, give it a little mix, and now I'm also going to add in the mushrooms at this stage. So we'll give this a good mix in, and then once the mushrooms have cooked down a little bit, we'll come back, give it a taste, and see where we go from there. So I've cooked down a little bit more, and the mushrooms cooked out. In hindsight, now I've tasted it, the mushrooms probably weren't such a great idea. So I've got another little pan on the side here. I'm just going to toast off some fennel seeds, and I'm going to grind them up and then add them to the sauce to have more of a fennel taste, because as it stands right now, all I really got is mushroom. Alrighty, while I'm toasting off my fennel seeds, I'm just going to add some pepper to this. I like a lot of cracked pepper. So, add like that. Now I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. Make it about 3. Start with that. We'll give that a little mix up. And we'll just turn it down to a low temperature now. And we'll wait for the fennel seeds to finish toasting, and then we'll add them. Alrighty, toasted my fennel seeds up. Now I'm just going to, got them in the mortar and pestle here, I'm just going to grind them up. Got the fennel seed ground up. Now, obviously, I'm not going to add all that at one time. I'm going to add it a little bit, mix it in, taste it, and we'll see how much we end up adding in the end. I'll start adding the fennel seeds. We'll start with 2 teaspoons. We'll give that a mix in, give it a taste, and we'll go from there. Alright, after giving it a taste, I'm going to add a little bit more fennel. Give that a mix in. And then once I've mixed that in, I'm just going to leave this on a low heat now for about another 10 minutes to cook out a little bit more. And yeah, we'll come back and give it another taste and see how it is. Alrighty, we've let it cook out. It's been about 5 minutes or so. We'll give it a taste. It just needs a little bit more salt. So then we'll give that a mix in. Now we're just going to stick the lid on that, take it off the heat, and carry on with the rest of the stuff. Alrighty, so I've been letting the cabbage just sit there, and as you can see, a lot of water's leached out. So I'm going to go and drain that, and then we'll add the dressing and mix the dressing through. Got the water drained out of the cabbage. I'm going to add the dressing, and then just give that a mix through until it's all combined. Once it's all combined, give it a taste. I think that's perfect. Alrighty, so I've had the meat in the fridge there for a while I was getting other things prepared. Now, I've got the blue cheese and the garlic, but I'm going to actually take some of this meat out because my boy probably not going to like the blue cheese in his burger. So I'm just going to portion out a patty, which the patty is going to be 150 grams each. So I'm just going to take one portion out for him. And now we'll mix the blue cheese and the garlic into the meat. So we'll just sort of paste that up a little bit. I'm also going to add some cracked black pepper to this, but instead of taking off the glove and that, my lovely camera assistant there is going to crack some into a bowl for me, and then we'll add that into it too. All right, we've got about a teaspoon, I guess, of black pepper. Don't want to go too crazy with it. All right, we'll mix that in. This is also why you want a bit of a coarser grind on your meat too, because you have to sort of work the cheese into it a little bit. So it's gonna paste out a little bit as it is, but it'll be all right. Alrighty, once you've got your cheese and garlic and all that incorporated into the meat, I'm gonna go ahead and portion out the meat. Alrighty, as you can see, I've got the meat portioned out in 150 gram bowls at the moment. Childish jokes. And now I've got one of the burger buns on the side there. So now you just want to go ahead and form the patty to a little bit bigger than your burger bun. So once you've formed your patty, it's a little bit bigger. You just want to make an indent in the center of the patty here, and then when you cook your burger, that indent will actually puff up a little bit and make a flat burger instead of a rounded burger like that. Then once you've got it formed and your little indent, just go ahead and form the rest of them. Alrighty, once your grill's nice and hot, because we haven't put any salt on the meat, you want to put some salt on the top, and that's the first side that's going to go down on the grill with the salt. So we'll start loading the grill up. As soon as you got the meat on the grill, then you put salt on the other side. Once you're salted that side, close the lid, turn the grill down to low, and let them cook. Alrighty. Once the burgers are about half cooked through, go ahead and give them a turn. And you want to go ahead and load up your Jerome cheese, slice on each. And close the lid, and cook them until they're done. When the burgers are cooked to your liking, you just take them off, and go and build your burger. So, build the burger. Most important, always toast your buns. If you don't toast your bun, don't talk to me. So, put one patty. Now this is completely optional, but I want a little bit more fennel on mine, so I've just got a little bit of extra ground up fennel. Sprinkle a little bit on. And bang another piece of meat on top. And plenty of onion jam. Don't be shy with the onions and the fennel. It makes the burger. All right, put the top on, and there you have it. A nice burger. All right, even though I've got a little bit of a hangover, you can't have a burger without a beer. So, now for the all-important bite. Holy damn, that is a really good burger. I impressed myself. Did actually, that's really good.